Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.
1963, when they took the Brier to Brandon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Don Whitman with Don Duguid, two-time world champion.
Rebel Eagle, take the game.
Not a question about it. Right on the nose. It never wavers.
A little bit of curling history for you.
High drama, high intensity.
We're back. There's nothing better than doing it live. Call, wonderful to see you. I was so struck by fans tuning in, not only across Canada, but around the world, in the United States, in Spain. You're everywhere.
And who's everywhere? We're everywhere. The fans are everywhere. And you wanted it live. We're back to a little bit of live for you on this Monday night. So welcome.
And there's a lot to talk about. A jam-packed show. We're going to get into women's worlds, mixed doubles nationals, team changes, an exclusive announcement on the show tonight.
It's kind of silly season, by the way, when it comes to trades and things happening so fast who were you just talking about? It's already making a change.
Well, I know. Now that we're live, I think we should start right with the latest thing we're seeing from Team St. George. The Curl Rock Stars on Twitter call just a few minutes ago saying, we have one hell of an announcement waiting for you on Wednesday evening. Let's just say the number of world and national championship appearances our team now has just skyrocketed. And then they finish with, if you can believe it, buckle up. You know I love that. Yes. Any guesses?
You know what? The first guess I had was Chelsea Carey. So that was my first guess.
Listen, we've got Chelsea Carey on the show tonight, so I guess we can ask her.
Yeah, when you think of the number of worlds and Canadian champs in the last sort of 8, it's Homan or Jones or Carey. So who would she add to her team? It would have to be somebody from.
We might not have to wait till Wednesday. We'll put it to Chelsea, won't we?
That's right. We'll figure that out. Can't wait to talk to Chelsea. Got a lot of people to talk to today.
We've got a lot of people to talk to. Let's start with the Women's World Curling Championship. Of course, Team Einarson, back-to-back bronze medals, beating Sweden back-to-back times. Call a pretty decisive bronze medal game. I woke up for it. It was early. I nearly fell back asleep at times. It wasn't close. Canada was really dominant in that game.
I stayed asleep for that game. It was so early in the morning. I'm keen, but not that keen.
Yeah.
I watched parts of it though post, and they were dominant, and yet then there was some struggles as well down the stretch. It was like, wait a minute, what's happening? Buckle up, as you say.
Right.
It was a big recovery for them to get that bronze medal. that looked like a tough old week, not just for Team Canada, but for so many of the other countries. And frankly, I would have hated to have any team other than Switzerland, who were so perfect, win that event. If a team with 5 losses had come up and beaten them, I would have been beside myself. They were so great. And to suddenly have in one game and darn it, Norway came close. I'm not so sure how, even though they're a solid team. Does that front end not look like superstars? Not just in the future, but right now they throw so well.
Yeah.
Good to see Norway back in the medal pool, frankly, as well.
Well, they hadn't been there since Dorothy Nordby, right? I mean, they really haven't been competitive since Dorothy Nordby was. How many times did
that was a problem that Norway had. They focused on one team only, and to the detriment of everybody else in the program, and they weren't able to develop anybody underneath them.
Right.
So it's always my mantra of be careful of that next generation. They're hugely important, or you run into the Dorothy Nordby effect, where there's no one to take over the next level.
Let's watch a little bit of those highlights and talk a little bit more about the week that was for this Canadian team. At times, Carey Einarson and the crew, they were brilliant. At other times, it looked like they were lost on the ice.
They look more lost. They look more lost, frankly, than brilliant, except in this bronze medal game, where it looked like Val and Carey finally together had a strong performance. And funny, we're always talking about sort of the lack of world championships from Team Canada on the women's side. But, here we have Anna Hasselborg still looking for a title, still looking for a world title. Yeah. And yet we kind of consider her, one of the best teams in the world. They like a lot of Canadian teams, have a lot of pregnancies on the team. So, I'm not sure if that played
let me just jump in and say on the topic of pregnancy, in this bronze medal game, we had 3 pregnant women on the ice. Extraordinary athleticism. Brianne Harris, I don't think she took a break. Even Carey talked about the fact that she was hoping the team would have had an easy game so that they could have given Brianne Harris a bit of a break. She's an absolute beast. I called her my hero on Twitter, because I thought Brianne was so inspiring the way she played. She left it all out there. So really beautiful to watch. There's a team call. But I mean, the drought continues, right?
The drought continues, although this is a bronze medal. But still, to get back on top of the podium, well, that's why one of the things, and when we talked to David Murdoch during the Brier, that he's just going to be looking at all things. And it's probably too early for him to assess anything yet. But when you look not just at Carey struggling, to finish the round robin at 7-5, like so many other teams, which is unbelievable that a 7-5 team even made playoffs, really. And the 2 under-21 teams at the last Worlds, neither making playoff rounds. And that's the canary in the coal mine that you have to be most concerned about. What are the people that are going to replace today's stars doing right now? Yeah. And did COVID leave them in the breach a bit? Is that part of it? The training suffered, and now they're behind in trying to catch up.
Well, it seems every time lately at this time of the year at these World Championships and Canadians not winning gold medals we have all of these conversations about what needs to change. I've seen the debate again come up about we're the only country in the world that's not creating a super team to go to the World Championship. I don't think that's the answer.
And let's face it, every team in Canada is trying to create their own super team. Sure. And so everybody's doing that. That's why you're seeing even Laurie St. George talking about adding to her team. Yeah. We have another big announcement coming up later in the show. Everybody is now, Reed Carruthers has made a super change as well, right? Bringing in Brad Jacobs. So everybody here is trying to create the right dynamic and chemistry to bring about a super team. And I think more and more people are looking at this idea that Brendan Bottcher's doing, centralizing it. Yeah. So I don't think anybody that thinks you can put together 4 individuals and make that work, I think that's a fool's game, because the intangible in all of this is that magical ingredient that stirs the pot, and that's it. Secret sauce is chemistry.
Yeah, and the communication. I thought at times there were communication breakdowns throughout the women's worlds for Einarson and the team sharing information at times.
Yeah, oddest building in the world to have it at. And I mean, we ran into that, no doubt, in Beijing, where they put it in the
swimming
from the Olympics. And it was such a massive building, and Hans was working his magic to try to bring that all together and make it work. But that building was gigantic. I mean, so for the ice makers to be able to have to try to seal all of those pockets of air that would be escaping.
You couldn't
have enough duct tape to do it.
No, you couldn't. One quick change I think David Murdoch will probably consider, and my personal feeling, Call, is that it's coming, is that there's got to be a change, at least on the timing of the Olympic trials. I think asking our Canadian teams, and we've talked about it so much on this show over the last number of years.
So we're blue in the face.
You're peaking over and over and over. And meanwhile, these European teams are sitting back watching these Canadian teams battle it out just to get there. And then you're asking them to peak again. I think that has
imagine like the Briar. I mean, that was such a phenomenal Briar.
Right.
And
it was a slugfest.
I know. And now they got to go slug it out again so quickly.
Okay.
Where you move, it's more important to change the Olympic trials a little bit. Just, we're not talking a lot.
Put it at the end of the season so the whole team has a fall. Okay. We're waiting on the champions, Jen Jones and Brent Laing. So we're going to bring in Chelsea Carey, because I think this is a good point to bring her in to this part of the conversation.
To see if she is joining Laurie St. George. Hi, Chelsea. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, it feels like a long time, actually.
It's been too long, Chelsea, and that's why you're back. We had a little pre-conversation last night. But you've been hearing this conversation Call and I have been having about all of this. First of all, some thoughts on watching Worlds. You're the biggest curling fan in the world. I know that. So you were probably awake watching. But maybe just some takeaways, anything from the ice to Canada's performance to some of the things Call and I were discussing.
Yeah, I think, obviously we saw some challenges with the ice, especially early in the week. It seemed like they kind of got it figured out. It got a little better as the week went on, but you're still seeing people that aren't super confident about draws, which is never kind of what we want. But we also saw it at the Briar, so it's hard to be super judgmental about that. But yeah, definitely that was, a story. And I think that you saw lots of good things from the Canadian team. You saw them struggle at times. For them to battle and do what they did. And they very easily could have won that semifinal, and they're in the final and they win the gold and we're not even talking about it. So that's just the thing with Worlds. It's so hard. It's one game. It's one shot. That's just how it is.
But what about Switzerland with that dominant performance? Were they just not top of the class?
They were. They have been at every Worlds for the last 4 years. And they are in other events, but something about Worlds, something about Alina Petz at Worlds. She's just an absolute sniper. It's unreal. So, you can't take anything away from them. That's incredible to do what they did. And even on different ice conditions in a different, they just have been the class of the field at the Worlds for 4 years, 5 years running now.
Well,
so we need to catch up. We've been talking a lot about this. How far behind? What's the gap?
I'm not sure we're behind. Einarson she's made the final of almost every slam this year, I think. I don't know that we are. I just think that putting it all on 1 week is just a hard thing to do. And I'm not sure, that I necessarily agree with that being the gauge. Where are we ranked in the world? Who's number one in the world? There's so many other things. There's slams. There's all these other things that have all these teams at them that I'm not sure that Worlds is necessarily the one to sort of live and die on, even though I know that's what we're all programmed to do. So yeah, is there room for improvement? For sure. But I'm not sure it's as much of a panic situation as sort of seems to be the general consensus, but I do understand, our funding and everything is tied to winning medals. So I get it. We want to win medals, but they did that. They won a medal. It's just, it's not gold and they want gold. And there's no team better qualified to do it. They've had the best season of anyone in Canada, I think, this year by a fair bit, if you were to break it down. So, we sent the most prepared team and they lost one game that they should have won. They came through as long as you get in the top six, it doesn't really matter. So They came in and they won that game, and then they could have very easily won that semifinal. So, what do you do?
Chelsea, one sec. I think we have a graphic about the Swiss dominance because it actually goes back to May 4th, 2021, their last loss, 36 consecutive wins at Worlds, 4 consecutive titles. I say even, it's an unbelievable run in curling, but it is an unbelievable run in all of sports at any level.
I mean, I think if you give Silvana and Alina an Olympic gold medal, then there's probably not much debate that they're the best to ever do it. I mean, that's just incredible, the dominance and not just from them. I mean, we saw Swiss teams before that. First Worlds in 16 was Binia Felcher, and she goes and wins it. There's been so many good Swiss teams. They usually only send 3 or 4 teams places, but they're 3 or 4 really good teams, and that has been the case for a long time. They're the only country really besides Canada that has that kind of depth and progression planning, teams that are going to be good when this current team retires, sort of thing.
Right.
Well, they have progression planning. What about Carey and her dominance in Canada, as you were talking about?
Same thing. I mean,
what do the rest of the teams have to do to catch up to what they've got going on?
Well, I mean, I heard you guys were talking about super teams and that is a super team. That's the kind of team that if you, in theory, were putting together a super team, it was a running joke when the first year they were together, the skip team, all skips. These are all people that are very accomplished in their own right that came together and changed positions and did all this stuff. I mean, that is a super team. Yes, it wasn't put together by the powers that be. They put it together themselves, but that is what we're talking about. So they already did it. It's already there. And you're seeing it happen with botchers trying to do it. Everyone's trying to put together super teams, basically. Being a really good team isn't good enough anymore.
Yeah. When you're watching at the Worlds and the ice the way it was, especially at the beginning of the week, and then the struggle for Team Canada where just everything seemed that little bit off during the round robin. So what goes through your gut when that's happening? Is every memory that you lived through, I know that, and I lived through, is happening, and you're watching it play out for another team?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I don't want to comment on their experience. I don't know what it's like for them. I related a lot to what the commentators kept talking about, what Reid was saying to them. You don't have to do this. This is and I don't want to take away from it. It's my proudest accomplishment of my life, wearing that maple leaf, and that will never change. And I'm still trying to do it. So we're signing up for this, but it's hard, and there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of not just pressure from the outside, but pressure on yourself. This is what you dreamed of your entire life, and now you're doing it. Wow. So you want it to be great. You want it to just be this incredible experience, and you want to go win. And then when you don't, you feel like you let yourself down, but you also feel like you let your country down and your competitors down. I mean, you beat them to get there, and there's all that kind of stuff, as I'm sure Colleen, from your time. And there's a lot more to it than you initially think there will be. You think it's going to be sunshine and rainbows and it is all of that, but it's also difficult. There's a lot of pressure. There's you just want so badly to win for Canada. And that's why we do it. We're doing this because we love our country and we want to wear that maple leaf and we want to do that for our country. But the amount of pressure that goes with that is something that people don't really talk about.
Yeah. When things go south, it's no longer sunshine and lollipops.
And let me just say, Chelsea, I know you shut off your notifications during a World Championship. I don't shut off my notifications.
Well, that's your job. You're paid not to shut off your notifications.
The online hate are Canadian women specifically, and it is specifically Canadian women on the world stage. The online hate that they face is appalling. It has no place, from my perspective, in any of this. I think a lot of Canadian curling fans and curling fans around the world would agree. Some of the posts, again this week, are enough to make your stomach turn. I wrote a piece a couple of years ago, you were quoted in it. Canadian curling fans are great until you lose. And you were in it too, Chelsea.
I think part of that, I don't know that it's gender specific. I think
it absolutely is.
Well, I don't know. The men have performed really well at World Championships consistently.
True, but they haven't won a gold since 2017. And when I'm seeing the conversation feels different. It sounds different. Chelsea,
I guess the conversation is our job to educate that the teams have just become so much better all the time, especially since it became an Olympic sport in all of the countries. And then we maybe sat back on our heels a little bit and didn't do enough of what the other countries were doing, in perhaps an arrogance. But I mean, the Olympics has changed it all for curling for the better. I've always said when you're watching women's hockey, for example, if I don't want to watch another Canada-US final, it is great that curling's expanded so that we suddenly have a Swiss-Norway final. We might not like that, but it's way better for the sport and the growth of the sport. And the sport can grow a lot more with all of these countries becoming stronger. Also, let's not forget another team that sort of really fell at these Worlds was Japan. As much as a lot of the countries there looked like deer in the headlights at times, Japan was a shocker for me.
Yeah, I think that and when you throw in tricky ice, it gets like that's a whole other thing, right? Because, teams that you expect to just be the automatic on the draw to the forefoot, all of a sudden aren't, because we don't know what the speed is, how long is it sat, that kind of thing. And I don't want to harp on the ice conditions because honestly, they're often challenging at these kinds of events. It's not this one. It's not specific to this one. That's just the reality. But I think at the end of the day, here's the thing is that 90% of the fans are still amazing, 90+%. But the ones that are awful are so awful and so brave behind their keyboard that it makes it tough, because that's the one thing that you see. And what for me, like, we got the hate about the results and stuff, and I get that. But what gets me is the comments that to me were the most offensive about Einarson's team was the Indigenous nature of the maple leaf on the back and the wearing of the Manitoba Métis Federate. Like, the fact that we're hating now we're talking racism in addition to just like being mad about the performance. I understand. As sports fans, we think we have that right, and maybe we do, maybe we don't. I mean, we could debate that all day. Am I allowed to be mad that the Jets are going to blow their playoff spot right now? I mean, I am mad, but I don't blame any of the individual players because I've been through it. But if you haven't been through it, it's easy to do that. So that's one thing. I understand the disappointment with the results, but hating on the individual hate towards people, towards like haircuts and nationalities and stuff, that's the part I have absolutely no patience for. And it just is disgusting to me that we're still even having that conversation, that people are still doing that. But it's a reality. I saw it this week. I know what happened to us. Not about, I'm as white as they get, so I don't get the racism part that way, but it was just awful. Like the slams at you as a human and at your appearance and stuff that just are so offside to me. It's just, I have no time for, no patience for. And like anyone that does that is a real quick block from me on any sort of social media.
And me too. Always a voice of reason, Chelsea.
But wait, Chelsea, what we were Laurie St. George rumors. What do you know?
Yeah, I've heard the rumors. I don't know. I'm not part of it. I don't know. I've heard things. I don't know anything for sure.
And what are you doing next year? I haven't been.
I have no idea. I'm playing doubles. I know that much. Colin and I are going to play some doubles.
Well, now your phone's going to start buzzing. Don't shut off the notifications now, Chelsea.
Don't. I can't believe.
I'm still figuring it out. It's
awesome.
It's a big sacrifice. I have a real job now, so we'll see. But I don't think I'm quite done yet. But I might take a.
You should not be done yet.
No, we don't want you to be. Awesome to see you, Chelsea.
Good to see you guys too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Outstanding. Good comments. Colin, we got to keep going. We forgot about this live format.
We can't cut this down to the time. This show's not going to be.
Let's go on to the champions, because champions are going to keep championing.
Really?
Oh, so
they're
nice.
all here.
Look at your
Hey guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, what a show you put.
How excited were the kids?
How excited were you? Really excited.
Nice. Brent, was this almost harder to win than anything mixed doubles? What did this feel like to win this? Because to me, it's like just such a hard event to play in and win.
It's a grind for sure. I mean, I've never run a marathon, but that's what I feel like today. I feel like I want to go to bed for 2 days. Maybe that's just because I'm old, but I say it all the time to anybody that'll listen. It's way harder. Like, that's way more tiring, way more mentally and physically exhausting than the Briar. And I don't really know why. I think it's because you don't get any breaks. At the Briar, I tune out, and maybe I take front end for granted, and maybe skips and thirds can't do that, but I tune out when it's not my turn to sweep, or if there's a break, and that just doesn't happen in mixed doubles, and it's just constant action. So I find it way more tiring.
Yeah, and every shot's hard, right, Jen? Right from the your very first shot, you don't make that, you're in trouble.
Yeah, like if you're one shot away from being in death, really. Like you just
And so that's what makes doubles really fun, and it's fast. And we've been, playing well over the last couple of years, but we'll lose the wrong game at the Nationals. And so, one shot here or there and you're out. And we felt we were playing pretty well this whole event, but you knew you were one shot away from being eliminated. So it makes it really exciting, and it's super fun to play. We love the format.
Isn't life ironic, though, Jen? Because if you had won the Scotties, you don't get this opportunity, right?
That's what Brent said.
I think maybe she did that on purpose for me, Colleen. I'm not sure. But,
True love.
We did go through that yesterday. That I don't know. Maybe this is the way that it was supposed to work out. Who knows? I don't really believe in that kind of stuff, but it's interesting for sure.
You better start believing now, because there was some pixie dust on. You guys played amazing, but I mean, just the universe made this available for you guys, and it's just lovely to see. And now back to Korea.
Yeah, we both played in Korea. We had a world championship there in 2009, and then Brent obviously had the Olympics. So it's time to go and win the medal.
I've spent 4 or 5 years trying to erase some of those memories, but
well, hey, the redeeming quality of sports, Brent.
Let's hope so. No, but in all seriousness, we're super excited to be going to the World Championship and to be representing Canada, and to go to a familiar place is kind of cool. It's come full circle, so that's kind of interesting too.
I was tweeting yesterday about you two, and people just adore you two for what you've given to this sport and to this country. You've won everything you could possibly win in this game, and you've added now a mixed doubles national title. How do you keep doing this, Jen? Because I've always said, I think you hate losing more than you like winning. You're so competitive. You both find that fire in the big moments, but you just keep doing this at the highest level.
I really always say we just both love the game. Like we love playing, we love competing, and it's super fun to share the ice together. And yeah, it's fun to play in those big games. You get that adrenaline rush, and it's just kind of what sports is all about. So it's hard to give that up because we still love it so much, and especially when I get to share it with Brent.
What are the challenges of being husband and wife on the ice? Because when things kind of go,
there are none, Colleen.
None at all. But you know how on a 4-person team, you can buffer with another person that somebody's driving you crazy. But if that,
and that's something that we've had to deal with. And what I've found is that I guess I vent to my my front end partner a lot more than I thought, and Jen's not really used to that. You don't want to vent to your skip, but there's nobody else out there, and I don't want to look like a crazy person walking around. So yeah, there's been just like any team on the ice. I mean, it's not a different dynamic, but a different situation than everyday life. So we've had to work, figure some things out, what to say, when to say it, what she doesn't want to hear from me, what I don't want to hear from her, and vice versa. And it's been a lot of fun. But we've put in a lot of time and effort, and played a lot of events over the last 6 or 7 years, and really enjoyed it. And it's kind of cool to see that pay off at our stage.
What was it like in Sudbury? We didn't get to see as much as I would have liked, but what was it? The crowd sounded and looked big.
It was unreal. It reminded me a little bit of North Bay. Like the whole place supported the event. The final weekend was sold out. You couldn't get a ticket. The hospitality was great. Lots of great restaurants. The ice was fabulous. Honestly, not one negative thing to say about the entire event. It was phenomenal, and I'm hoping that they're going to host more curling events, because curling would be lucky to go back to Sudbury.
Let's get back to what you were saying about when what to say to each other. So Jen, you were talking about you've been playing well but didn't push it. What pushed you over the edge that you finally learned the right communication or the right something that made the win happen?
I think it was just playing more events, and it wasn't even the communication part, maybe a little bit just trying to figure out how to talk to each other to bring out our best. But for the most part, it was just learning the game, the little chaps, and trying to get rock position in the front of the forefoot, and the speed and the weight to throw to do that, and really knowing when you're in trouble and when to blow it up, and trying to prevent big ends. And that's one thing we did really well over the week, is we didn't give up a big end, and that's a big thing in mixed doubles, and we managed to kind of contain that, and it really helped us win. So I think it's just experience and playing, and Brent did like to vent, and he's venting less. So especially when I missed the line call and he's venting to me about it, it didn't feel great. So
I just don't like working unnecessarily. So if we miss a line call in the undersweep, it's less frustrating.
Right.
But it
And
just
is blow it up the newest, latest term in curling,
That's what he always says. So I don't know. I think
it's definitely the buzzword right now. Blow it up.
You get into trouble and blow it up. But yeah, back to your question, Colleen. It just comes down to execution. It's still curling, and Jen came off a great Scotties where she played really well. Obviously, her whole team did and made a great run. And then we had a bit, I wouldn't say a surprising run, but a little bit of a surprising run at the Briar with Team McHugh and Team Ontario, and we both came in with lots of confidence, and we just made a lot of shots. And execution makes everything easier. It makes you forget about any of the challenges and makes communication easier. When you're winning, it's hard to get mad. And we didn't have very many games where we were trailing. We had a couple of close ones, but we were never really trailing for very long. And that just came down to making a ton of shots.
Nice.
How much did the Super Series help you guys?
I mean, yeah, like a lot. Because it just helped us play more. Like there was just more events to play in. Just because we both were playing 4-person, it's really hard to do a ton of traveling for mixed doubles as well. And the Super Series would plan strategically right after slams, and so you could really logistically make it work. And my mom was already here watching the kids, so we could just kind of extend her stay. But it was just also just playing against the best teams, playing on great ice conditions, learning what works and what doesn't work. And we lost a quarterfinal to Jen Dodds and Bruce Mowat, and learned a lot in that game. Lost on last rock and kind of realized what we do differently. And I think it really helped us be better.
Oh, and you'll be seeing them there too.
Yeah, cool, actually. I think it's the first game. Nice start.
I don't know how much you heard of our talk with Chelsea and talking about the weight of the Maple Leaf and all of this. You've done it so many times. You're doing it again on the world stage. Any thoughts on that lofty weight as you do it again?
It's never really felt heavy to me. I don't know. I just think it's such a privilege. It's like a dream. I almost feel like you're floating. Like you just feel like you're living in this fairy tale. And all I've ever told anybody is that I can guarantee that we're going to try our hardest. We're going to leave it on the ice. We're going to enjoy the moment. We're going to have fun. We're going to try to shine, and hopefully the results will come. We're never going to give up, and that's a promise I can make. And you can't control outcomes. You can only control your what you put into it, and we're going to give it 150%.
But your hubby has spent the last 4 years trying to wipe the South Korea Olympics.
Yeah,
it's probably an exaggeration.
It is and it isn't, Colleen. I mean, it was a difficult thing to deal with. Obviously, you spend your whole life trying to achieve something, and it doesn't happen. But even in Korea, at no point did I feel like I'd let my country down. At no point did I feel like it was the weight and the pressure from the fans or anybody outside of our little bubble, our team. I mean, when we compete, I think Jen agrees, we compete for, the people that we're on the ice with and the people that support us and our closest friends and family. And outside of that, yeah, we want to win for Canada. Don't get me wrong. But some stranger on social media who doesn't like me isn't going to affect the experience of being at a world championship that we earned the right to be at and to take it all in. We both have talked a lot lately about at this stage in our career, which I joke is maybe the middle. I don't know if we're near the end yet or not. Who knows? But we do take that extra moment to appreciate it because you don't know. I'd come to terms. I hadn't thought about it a lot, but I didn't think I'd be Team Canada again. There was a very small chance of that. And then this comes together and here we go again. So it's hard not to be grateful. It's hard to feel, the weight of something. Certainly there'll be pressure, but that's pressure that we'll put on ourselves to perform well, not to win, to perform well.
Well said. Well said. Well, the universe has put it all together for you guys. So
I think so. I feel like it's been, and the kids were so excited. And we were really excited to do this together and to wear the Maple Leaf together. I always feel like he's been out on the ice with me because he's always been my number one fan, but it's kind of actually nice to actually share the ice.
That's very cool. I'll never forget that embrace you two shared, Brent, when you walked off the ice at the end of the Briar. I didn't know what that embrace between the two of you meant. And when you say that and are so revealing about wondering what was ahead for you and now this, Colleen talks about it all the time. Everything's happening exactly how it should. And here, like you said, here we go again.
I think I told Jen that at the Briar, but I can't remember. I talked so much there. So
well, we played mixed doubles and then we would win. And so we couldn't play in the mixed Canadians.
Yeah, Jen bailed on me a bunch of times.
Or Brent. So we didn't really get a lot of opportunities early to play in the Nationals. And so now it's kind of fun that, it happened. And we played really well. So it was nice to go and play well from start to finish.
Well, so speaking of that, though, what about a change in the calendar because if you had gone to the Worlds, he'd have to call me to go, and I'd go. But
I always thought that was really unfortunate the way we planned it.
Yeah,
we've talked about it for a long time. There's plenty of opportunities to plan it on a time where it doesn't conflict, and it's just
so much at stake now. I mean, you guys won $40,000. You're now one of the top teams going. You could get to the next Olympics. I mean, that's a lot riding on this.
Well, yeah, and it's hard to devote so much time. Like, you want to get better at mixed doubles, and you devote all that time, and then all of a sudden
you can't
go. Like, you look at Shannon Burchard, couldn't play with John Morris, and so it is unfortunate. I think they're looking at changing that so that and it always conflicts with the women, not the men.
Interesting, isn't it?
Or usually, I think maybe the men a couple of times. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's the word we'll use. Congratulations to
it was so great.
Awesome.
The goat keeps getting more goat, but the two of you combined, I mean, I'd need fingers, toes to count the championship.
Literally stars aligned and now going to Worlds. That's incredible.
In Korea, so fun. So we're excited. Thank you.
We know
Devin
you'll
and
do
I
us
can
proud.
figure out a way to get there. We're gonna go.
We'll find out.
You know your way around there, there's lots of great.
We do. We could.
Brent knows the venue from the Olympics, and I was a fan, so I know the.
Oh yes, you.
Right.
That was lovely. Oh, look how beautiful they are.
Thanks for making time for us, guys. Congratulations.
Thanks, Colleen.
Bye-bye.
It's amazing. What a power duo.
And nothing against Brent, but yesterday I said, Call, you won a provincial title, yet another provincial title with your son and Marley and Paul. Congratulations to you. There you are. So on the same day, two Jones keeps on winning in the curling world, and we're all still trying to keep up with the Jones.
And I love it. And when Brent was saying, he doesn't know if he's in the middle of the career, let me tell you, at 63, you're just starting, baby. And that's the thing when you love the sport and you just want it in your life forever. Yeah. And if they could ever play with their girls, they would understand the joy I felt at winning yesterday with my son that I was pregnant with when we won the Canadian Mixed in 1999 in Swift Current. And now we're going back there. Talk about a full circle moment.
Full circle.
It's just a joy. It's a joy that I can see his love for the sport. To me, that's the gift. That's a gift to be able to give your kids. So I was pretty pumped.
Drum roll call.
Yes.
We're getting ready. We got a big new team.
Oh, breaking news.
This is exciting, and I love that we're doing this here on this show.
I didn't think we could top the Reed and Brad Jacobs announcement, but this is a good one.
Let's bring them in both at the same time. All right, producer Self, let's do it. Your newest team. Voila!
Nice.
Wait a second. Where do we begin? Andrea, Krista, who wants to spill the beans?
Well, I mean, so our curling team has been together for a really long time, and we've had some really good successes, but obviously our number one is to win the Scotties, and we haven't quite got there yet. So we're thinking we wanted to maybe make some changes, do an ad if we could, and the opportunity arose, and we had some chats with Andrea, and we thought she'd be a perfect fit. So the little bit of chatting back and forth with how things would go, we decided that Andrea is going to jump on the team, playing third, and Kendra, Ashley, and Sarah are going to do a little bit of a rotation. So Andrea and I will play back end together and be kind of the constant on the team, and then the other three will just rotate and curl where we feel like they're going to fit in, and we haven't decided on the schedule or anything like that yet, but that's sort of where we went. So
my goodness, are you going to play more than normal, Krista?
Well, I mean, I would like to, but we know we're not in the slams next year with the points, so the spiels that we're going to play are going to be the smaller spiels, which is a good thing for me being a teacher. I mean, I usually have to take off like 2 days for those spiels, which is nice because the slams are like 5 days. So, I mean, last year or this past year, I went to 2 slams. That was already like 10 teaching days. So I feel like if I have those days to play with, some smaller spiels in like Southern Ontario or maybe around Andrea, that
maybe in Halifax at the Stu Cells. Andrea, what was it like to get the phone call?
Well, you know how fast these things kind of happen sometimes. So changes happen really fast for our team. And then, started having chats with Kendra and then Krista and the rest of the team last week. So it was really exciting. Like, this wasn't really on my radar. But after the Scotties this year, and it wasn't really a great week for our team. There was lots of things to think about and consider as to how I really wanted to see the next couple of years go at this point in my curling career. So, but like I'm learning from everybody that's been on the show tonight, Colleen, there's many, many years left ahead of me. So, but yeah, pretty thrilled.
Krista, what does this, when you were frustrated this year, so close again, at what point were you saying in your head, I need an ad here, as you said, but what was going through your head? Why did you not want to just keep status quo and keep coming second and third?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like, coming home, and I mean, after the Scotties, you're proud that you made you had the bronze medal, and obviously to medal in the Scotties is always a huge accomplishment. And, but I just felt almost like it wasn't an accomplishment. It felt like, I'm just getting to the point where when is my turn? When I want to win the Scotties so bad, when are we going to be number one? And, we did make a few changes this year with like practices and releases and, the things that we could make changes to. And I feel like we did a really good job with all of those things. But again, here we are, at the end of the season and still haven't won. So, in our situation in our lives with, work and children, Sarah can only play a limited amount of schedule. She has twins and she's super busy. So the amount that she could play, we knew we'd have to get someone else on board. And this past year, we did get Jen Gates to play with us, but we knew we wanted to bring someone else on the team. And when, Andrea's name came up right away, and, when actually, we actually didn't think that she was, this would be an option. We just kind of threw it out there. And then when she started biting, we're like, ooh, this might be a really good fit for us. And so we thought, it felt super natural just to say, hey, let's jump on board and try something different. And, I'm excited for that because, as I've said, like, we're so close, but not close enough. So I think a change needs to be made. And I hope this is, the exciting change that I want at the end of next year at this time.
Well, we were talking when we had Reed and Brad on the show, and I said, I just hope some women's teams are going to make some changes after the Scotties. But I was specifically talking about you. Andrea, without mentioning you. But Andrea, have you played any other position other than skip your whole life? And what kind of an adjustment is it for you now to be the import when you're used to sort of, kind of having a team close together?
Yeah, I've played third for maybe a few months in my curling career. I did. I played third and through last rocks in 1 year at the Scotties, so I've had a little bit of exposure to sweeping. But I'm a pretty physically driven athlete, and
I know it.
To get that through the sport of curling as a skip, so I'm definitely really excited and looking forward to that part of it. I'm looking forward to just having a different role on the team and the challenges that come with that. What I can do to support Krista, and then what I can do to support the rest of the team. And I am really excited about the change at this time.
I wonder what it's like. This could be a mutual admiration society here between the two of you, but you've battled so many years. And I wonder over all those years when you would watch each other throw, and you're two of the best throwers in this country, what you're thinking about having to be opponents all this time. And now you go, oh my God, I got the secret weapon on my team. So I wonder how that comes into play, and how you even wrap your head around now joining forces.
Well, honestly, our team has talked for many years, and we've always kind of said, like, Andrew's team is very similar to us. Like, we're almost like the sister teams. Like, they seem very close, great friends, and they've been playing together for so long with, a few changes here and there. But, even just talking at the Scotties or at Spiels, like our teams always seem to get along really well. And, they seem very similar to us. So it felt very natural to have her come on the team, with, the lighter schedule that we play. And, Andrea hasn't played a super heavy schedule either. And so that seemed to kind of fit. Like we couldn't, not everybody would want a light schedule like our schedule. So, I think that worked good too.
And
I'm excited to see what you guys do. Like, I just think this is a good marriage. Good marriage. It's so close, and it's just one missing ingredient sometimes to make the cake better.
Yeah. Well, and you never know when Andrea's going to whip out another 7 score in a game. She's got that in her back pocket whenever. So, yeah, no kidding. So exciting for the two of you, and like Colleen said, we're so excited to see how this comes together going into next season.
Yeah, we will see. Hopefully, it's our year.
Yeah. It'll be great. It'll be great. Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck.
It does leave a huge hole, by the way, Andrea, in New Brunswick. And also another big hole is in Prince Edward Island with Suzanne Burt stepping back from the game.
Yeah.
So those are 2 provinces. I think the reason why you get along so well is there's a lot of moose in New Brunswick and there's a lot of moose in Northern Ireland. Okay.
Yeah, that must be it.
And when Andrea Kelly, by the way, let's talk about her like she's not here, says that, she kind of likes the physical training. I think she could give, if we had her and Joanne Courtney I think from what I hear, I did not know that was going to happen. I think you two could do something together.
She can teach me. I need lessons.
No,
I'm retired.
You're a beast. You're a beast.
Yeah.
Joanne, what do you think of this new matchup?
Oh, that's really exciting. Yeah. Anytime, like especially Chris was saying, been together for so long and you guys have been so close. So add that fresh player in and watch out.
Watch out.
Sauce.
Okay.
Good luck, you guys. We're going to be watching.
Yes.
Thank
and
you.
come to Halifax, do sell. Sign up.
I know. Actually, Andrea was saying that. So maybe we'll have to come.
It's a great spiel.
If you go, I'll go. So that's the deal.
Oh, yeah. Come on down, Devin. You can stay at my place. Joanne, you can come too.
Yeah.
All right, Krista, congratulations. This is exciting, and thanks for being here to share it with us.
Thank you, and congrats, Colleen.
Oh yes, mixed.
I hope you're playing my husband.
Oh, is he going?
He's in the provincials this coming weekend. So
okay, but you're not.
No
more time off.
Maybe one day, but not this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Colton Flash said to Saskatchewan.
Yes.
Oh. Anyhow. All right. See you guys.
All right. See ya. Thank you.
Back of the worlds. But that is great news because hi, Joanne.
Hi.
Because Krista's just been knocking on the door.
You look rested. Joe looks rested. You had the eye patches.
Yeah, on the plane. I was that girl. Just
That's good.
You were
great job, by the way.
Joe, you were so good calling the games. I was watching. I was out of country for part of it, so I was watching. And you're so good at this.
Very good. You're a natural. You should
go
go back to curling too. Are you going with Laurie St. George?
Ooh.
No.
Oh, that laugh had me on edge for a second.
It did for me for a second too.
Scoop the team.
What are you guessing to join that team?
Did you hear this, Joe?
Yeah, I thought Chelsea Carey. And she didn't say. Did she say no?
She said no.
Oh,
she said no.
I don't know.
Well, she had a nervous laugh too, so maybe we'll keep her.
But who could it be?
But she came to mind, and then I saw Jill Officer, but I don't think Jill is making a comeback, even though she never said retired.
Right.
But like we say, World Championship experience, so we should be able to do some digging here.
Okay, but let's talk about the Worlds.
The fans on this one. The fans are usually, well, not smarter than you guys, but probably smarter than me. Fans, weigh in. Let us know what you think about the St. George.
But I actually think McCarville deciding, and she's saying it, that she's had enough of second and third. She is the best skip not to have won the Scotties ever.
Yes, I agree.
And for them to be able to now kind of take this tiny leap forward for womanhood or mankind or whatever. I mean, I think it's great. And I don't think they have to overplay. As a matter of fact, I'm going to argue that not playing in the slams could be a secret sauce. That's my special word of the day, because you're playing on less than ideal conditions than all of the other spiels.
Well, Joe, do you want to talk about ice conditions?
Yeah. Which brings us to the Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, like, we chatted a lot about this because there was obviously you're going to see misses and, you have to anticipate and the ice is changing and everything. But like, I have thought about a lot, 24 hours of travel to get home from Sweden. And like, I don't know that that's the whole story there. I mean, how does Alina Petz play 90% on the week if the ice is unplayable? Right. Like that's the part that just doesn't sit well with me. Like, you can't have a skip that ranked, I think she was like 4th among all of the curlers at the event. Like, there were 3 leads that were better than her. That's it. So how does that happen if the ice is that bad, right?
Yeah.
My second thought was our Scotties. Like, I heavily invested in 2 events this year because of the broadcasting. The Scotties was really tricky, and the Scotties actually changed really tough for speed to start. They made some changes with the air temp, and then it got super straight, and then they did the rocks, and then it got really curly. So there was like 3 bouts of ice changing at the Scotties too, and like Einarson didn't miss a step, right? They had 1 game.
Right.
Who were they playing? I don't remember. But 1 game where it was tricky. It was against Caitlin Laws in Wildcard 2, and their first 5 were rough, like a couple flashes and whatever. And then something happened at the 5th end break, and then all of a sudden it was great. So, like, yes, it makes it hard when you're grinding a bit.
Hey, buddy boy.
All right, guys. Dad's at work still, so we're
nice.
He misses you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've been hanging all day. So what I'm saying, like, yeah, it's tricky, but I've seen them manage tricky loss.
Right.
So it's hard when you're grinding, because I've been there, and I don't want to speak to what their experience was by any means, but I've seen them manage really tough stuff too. So I think there's more to the story than just the ice.
But Joe, I want to jump in on that point about grinding and doing all that, and I'm wondering though, you compared to the Scotties to a World Championship, you at the Olympics in Pyeongchang, when these things start to shake, when the cart starts to shake a little bit and go off the rails a little bit, when you're at an international event where a whole country is watching you, is that a whole different ballgame?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It makes it really tough. Like, and especially like if there's something that's been a struggle just for the player, and then you add in a few other variables, like maybe a couple rocks you didn't realize, maybe some ice has been tricky.
Yeah.
That means 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to go watch a little bit more? That makes it that much harder. And the other part, like, you don't get to step back at all. Like, the Scotties, you get a morning draw, you're not on TV, and then it's fine. But like, you're on the entire way through. You got to do all this media. You got everyone coming at you. Like, that's really, really hard too. The team for Einarson though, like, so again, so dominant, so amazing. But there's that piece where, like,
fragile.
I wonder if what we're doing to our teams is really, I don't think it's helping them at all. Like, I'm seeing tweets like, Einarson lost at the Worlds again. I'm like, they didn't lose, they got a bronze. Like, if we're saying, oh, it's gold or bust, like, you're never gonna.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're giving our teams the best chance to win. Like, I wonder if Hasselborg, they had a slow start to the week, and then they came on strong. But then in the last round robin day, if they win one of their 2 games, Italy and Denmark, they're in that semifinal. Do you think they're getting slaughtered online? Like, I don't know. Maybe there's some people that are, not feeling it as much, but I don't know that plays as much of a role as it does for our Canadian teams.
Yeah. Well, it's a whole different kind of.
You're standing on the podium, but you lost. Like, that's BS.
Yeah, it is. But I think because Canada is such a dominant, in terms of size, curling country. I mean, it's just, we won for so long.
Yeah,
we thought it's an automatic thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't justify any of the haters online. I think a bronze is perfectly wonderful. I'll never forget we lost a bronze, and that was a devastating loss to the girls. So I just think they're amazing. But let's talk about Tirizoni and Pets and what are they doing so right, so well. I mean, they throw beautifully. They call it an amazing game. I guess that's their secret. But
yeah, and I don't speak Swiss, unfortunately, so you can't crawl into their brains as much as you want to when you're doing a broadcast for them. But I mean, they just work so well. Like Slavana, she takes control of the strategy. She reads the ice really well. Like I got to interview her a couple times, and I asked her, I'm like, how's it going out there? And it was after their Canada game where the whole lineup struggled except for Pets. And she said, yeah, it was a little tricky, and there's a few spots on the sheet, but overall it's been fine. And I don't know if they simplify it a little bit, but again, like when the team is performing and playing well, there's less variables that kind of come into play. Yeah. But I mean, Alina, just like, I wonder if she has a pulse out there sometimes. Like,
yeah, I know. So good.
It's wild. It's like a front end. Like Briar and Carol, like biggest games of their lives, and I'm waiting for them to just be out of the hack. They're not. Like, so it's a really fun thing to watch and see, but to not have lost a game since a round robin draw in the Calgary bubble, but wild, just wild.
Joe, do you think they call the game differently in pivotal moments? That was my takeaway, is that they, and Colin and I talk about this on the phone a lot when we're watching and strategizing and not missing any shot. But do they call the game in pivotal moments differently? And I think about moments where you could draw to the open side and guarantee maybe you're two, or you could go for a kill shot and draw around a center line guard or a corner guard. Like, I feel like they know when to put the foot on the gas in the game. I just feel like that's a different strategy we see from them that I haven't seen from Canadian teams.
I would argue too, like they put the foot on the gas for the most part, like in general. I mean, in the first time when they played Canada in the round robin, Canada got some misses out of their front end, and they went, center line guard, everything around, but there were a few behind the T line. And it was like, okay, fine, Alina, make a good one, and then she did. Right. And I think it's like we see with Jennifer Jones and her young team, like, no, we're not going to go to the wing here. We're not going to play it open. We're going to put up two center line guards because we have to, and we're going to make it. And I think that's what they did with the front end too, is just, this is how we play, how we're going to win. And I think
she played that final simple.
I didn't see it. I was in the air.
Oh, right. She played the final really simple, and she said, well, Norway wasn't going to get into it, but she didn't get into it either.
Yeah.
So, but when you've got the weapons of how they make up Alina, as Devin calls her, an assassin, she can make those run backs so beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of Canadian female skips that could do that as well. So.
Oh yeah, like they're a fun team to watch, and there were so many amazing teams to watch at the Worlds this time around too. It was inspiring. Like there were, on the last day, there were still 9 teams in contention.
Which is, I don't know, a good thing or a bad thing or sloppy. What did that say? 7.
Well, everyone was beating everyone except for Switzerland, right? So I think that speaks to the field being pretty strong, if you ask me. Like Denmark was a revelation on their last day of round robin play. Denise Dupont and Madeline Dupont as the back end, like they're in the 90s for both their games. Wild.
Spoilers on the final day, because if Canada would have won both their games, they would have been in the semifinal. It was crazy. Joe, when are we going to see you behind the mic next?
I don't know.
Today.
Right.
Okay, well, right now. I don't know. I'm starting a job in ICU in 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
You're amazing.
You are amazing. You really are. Yeah.
That's something I've always wanted to do. So I'm going to jump into that and see what kind of comes up. And it's a really fun spot to watch the sport from. So
see,
another opportunity.
Yeah. Talk about pressure.
Yeah.
Go work in ICU.
Yeah. When you talk about real pressure.
Yes.
Right. Picks for Men's Worlds coming up in Ottawa. I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. Who do you think wins it, Joe?
You got to go Gushu.
Yes.
I mean, you're on these broadcasts and you can't show any favoritism, but you know what? Not this time. I want Canada to win. And then, of course, you've got Nicholas Sedin and Bruce Mouet and
who's he?
Will Rotornaz and all the usual suspects. So I think it's going to be a great week.
Yeah.
And Ottawa, like, what a wonderful venue for it. The fans are going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
You've got good memories of Ottawa, I'm sure. Listen, nice of you. Yeah, go be a mom.
Yeah. Just started to make a mess. It's fine.
Yeah, go clean the mess.
Okay,
nice to see you.
Okay.
Appreciate you, Joe. Awesome. Call, should we go to Ottawa?
Did you notice that she's a quick hanger-upper, like you're always accusing me of?
You're always hanging up before I say goodbye.
That's me. She's quick too.
I hate abrupt endings.
I know you do.
That's why it's an hour into the show and we're still.
Are we an hour? Oh, we're bad.
Should we go to Ottawa? Call. Should we go to Ottawa?
We should. Let's think about that. Maybe we'll go to Ottawa.
Any fans going to Ottawa? Curling fans? Will you be at Men's Worlds? Call and I are thinking about it.
We're thinking of it. It's such a great field. How could we not go? Maybe I'll ride my bike there.
I'm not riding my bike because.
Oh, you had an accident.
We're not talking about that as I hold my ribs.
Went over the handlebars.
Stop.
Don't laugh.
Don't laugh. We got to wrap this up.
That was fun. I love this show.
I do love this show. I've missed you. We've missed all of you. We'll probably see you from Ottawa. But we're back Thursday to set up the Men's World Curling Championship.
That's right. And what a field.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be amazing. So let's think about whether we go to Ottawa. I love that. Producer Soph, thanks. Nice to have you back in this
space. I know. Okay. That's a wrap. We're dancing.
See you Thursday.
My rib.
I know. Oh, my ribs too. Okay. See you. Have a great night. See you Thursday.
Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.